Good morning, my little chickadees. How are we doing today? Today we're actually going to do the last lesson in chapter 5. It's a quick lesson, okay? It looks a little more crazy than it is. It's the product to sum and the sum to product formulas, okay? That's what I have written here. There's two of them, all right? You can find them on your sheet, and there are these two. Okay, and if you look at them, all right, let me see if I can get this a little closer. They do look scary. They are not. They are the easiest ones to do, seriously. Okay, you just have to know when to use product to sum or when to use sum to product. And it's a very easy way to figure that out. So I'm going to show you. All right, first of all, it's how it's written. If you notice, okay, it says rewrite. First of all, the directions is going to be your first clue as which one you're going to use. It says rewrite as a sum or difference. So they want it to be rewritten as a sum. So if they want it to be rewritten as a sum, that means it must be a product. You're going to use the product to sum formula, which is this one here. Okay, and if you can see how it's written, it says sine, I don't know what that Greek letter is. Whatever, sine A, sine B, cosine A, cosine B, sine A, sine. It's written as a product, whereas the sum to product is written as a sum. Okay, it's added or a subtraction, an added or a subtraction. Okay, so you'll know which one to use. Since this is saying cosine sine, we're going to use the cosine sine one. Okay, so that's just going to look like this formula. Cosine sine is 1/2 bracket. I'm going to write out the formula first. Sine, it's A plus B minus sine A minus B. Okay, so that's the formula you're going to use. It's a product. You're going to write it as a sum or difference depending on which formula you're using. Okay, if you see a sine is a difference, a cosine is a sum, a cosine is a sum, and a cosine is a minus. Okay, and now we're just going to, this is your A, this is your B, and you're literally just going to substitute in. So it's going to be 1/2 the sine of 5x plus 3x minus sine of 5x minus 3x. We're going to simplify what's in the parentheses, so it's 1/2. It's the sine, 5x plus 3x is simply 8x, minus the sine of 2x. Now we're just going to distribute the 1/2, but you're not taking half of this number. This is an actual angle. You can't take half of its value. You're just going to rewrite it as 1/2 sine 8x minus 1/2 sine 2x. And that's it. That's the whole thing. You're done. Walk away. It's over. Okay? Now, the reason why I just wanted to introduce you to these two formulas is because these are big in calculus. Excuse me, sipping my coffee, see? Okay, and just because we're home doesn't mean that, we're not going to move on to calc next year. So I need to just introduce you to these and then let your calc teacher take it away. Let's do another one. I'll show you. It's the cosine of 6x, cosine 3x. Okay, again, it's a product. We're going to write as a sum or difference depending on the formula. And the formula for the cosine looks like this. 1/2 cosine of A minus B plus cosine of A plus B. That's it. So this is my A, this is my B. I'm going to plug it in. It's like putting your socks away in your sock drawer. You wouldn't put them in the freezer, would you? Just putting in your A, putting in your B. I hope everybody's doing okay. I miss you guys. I'm tired of being home. I'm tired of cooking. 6x minus 3x is 3x plus 6x plus 3x is 9x. And then just distribute that 1/2. Just write it that way. 1/2 cosine 9x. That's it. The whole kit and caboodle. That's when they're given the product and you have to write the sum. Now we're going to go the other way. All right, we are going to do from sum to product. It's going to have different directions. And here's another thing. The directions, so it'll click in your mind, when you're going to use the sum to product, it'll say find the exact value. Okay, so you're looking for an exact value, not just rewriting it, okay? And they'll give it to you like this. The sine of 5 pi over 12 plus the sine of pi over 12. Okay, see how they gave it to you as a sum? How do we know it's a sum? There's a plus there. Okay, so we're going to take our formula and see that we have a sine plus sine formula. We're going to use this, okay? It looks a little crazy. Let me write it out so you can see it. But it really, again, is just legitimately putting A and B in the same place. Like putting your socks away. Should put your socks away. You guys driving your parents crazy at home? I hope not. Cosine of A minus B over 2. Okay, so we're going to plug in the numbers. So it's going to be 2 sine, I need a little room for this. All right, it is 5 pi over 12 plus pi over 12 divided by 2 times the cosine of 5 pi over 12 minus pi over 12 over 2. It looks ugly. It really is not that hard to do. We're going to do simple math here, okay? 5 pi over 12 plus 1 pi over 12 is 6 over 12. Can we all agree that 6 over 12 is a half? So I'm going to rewrite it as 2 sine of a half, pi over 2, divided by 2, times the cosine, 5 over 12 minus 1 over 12 is 4 over 12. Can we all agree that that is just pi over 3? Can we all agree? Like, what are you going to do? Argue with me? I'm giving you a video. All right. Pi over 2 divided by 2. Again, guys, all right, think about what's going on there. Pi over 2 divided by 2 is really pi over 2 times the reciprocal, so it's pi over 4. So this is 2 times the sine of pi over 4. See where we're going with this? You're like, oh, I know the sine of pi over 4. Times cosine, same thing here. Pi over 3 divided by 2 is really pi over 3 times 1/2, so it's pi over 6. Okay, I'm just going to do it over here. So it's 2 times sine of pi over 4 is radical 2 over 2. The cosine of pi over 6 is radical 3 over 2. We're just going to do the math. Okay, I'll cancel this 2 for this 2. Radical 2 times radical 3, radical 6 over 2. Bam. That one required a little more math, but no math that, like, you know, we're going to sit down and start crying over. I look at the time, and there's 8 minutes left. I mean, I've already taken up 8 minutes. I really didn't want to go past 10, so let me try and quickly do one more, the same type of question. Okay, so again, we're going to find the exact value, but very quickly, something like this. The cosine of 255 plus the cosine of 195. Okay, we can do it when it's in degree also. Now, those aren't reference numbers, but watch what happens. When I put them into the formula, and the formula for this one looks like this. It's going to be 255 plus 195 over 2 times the cosine of 255. This I got right off the sheet. I'm just not showing it to you just to save time. I don't need you to watch this too long. When I do the math here, when I do 255 plus 195 and I divide it by 2, if my calculations are correct, it comes out to 225. That's a reference angle, so we're fine. If I do 255 minus 195 divided by 2, hello, it's 30. Ooh, I almost dropped my coffee. So now it's going to be 2. The cosine of 225, be careful. Remember where you live. 225, it's a reference angle 45, but it's in the third quadrant. It's negative radical 2 over 2. The cosine of 30 is radical 3 over 2. Kind of looks familiar to the first one, except there's a negative sign. So it's negative radical 6 over 2. Okay, that's it. That's the last lesson in this chapter. Tomorrow I'm going to have a review sheet for you. We're going to review. I'm going to ask you to send me all your questions. On Friday I'll answer all of your questions, and then I'll send you home your test. And we'll be done with chapter 5. This is your homework. So if you want to freeze the screen, you're going to rewrite, okay, as the product, as the sum of difference. So it tells you right there. If it's a product, I want a sum, and the exact value. So just like we did in the video. I hope the videos are helpful. I hope you guys are safe and healthy. I love you guys, and I hope to see you soon.